Hello everybody! 2019 is soon approaching the end, so I decided to share a little update because I was really quiet since the release of the Sage 2019 demo, and I'm not too happy about how that demo turned out. I had some time to reflect what I could change about the development of this game to make future demos better and the full game better, and I decided that it's really because the game is too ambitious and I couldn't focus on core things when there were too many things around it. Too many characters, too many gimmicks, too many side features like special stages, Lost World Gravity, and custom character, which by the way was just a happy accident that I expected to be a little bit more marketable. Not to say about things that are not included in the demo, like NPC that are already working. I started some progress on Chao, and it's a lot that isn't stages, that isn't just based core gameplay, and it showed in that demo. And since I made the first two stages for the first demo, which was over a year ago, that's a lot of time, I learned a lot more about level design, how to do it, how to actually use Blender instead of Unity terrain, and those two stages really have to be remade from scratch. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to scrap a lot more things if I want the game to actually be good, to have all stages be fun, and give you guys a really fun time. So, to the point, I've decided to downscale the game a little, to cut some characters, at least from the story, because I've already programmed them, so they would be a waste if they weren't just unlockable. However, I think some characters may not appear in the main story. Every single character requires a stage to at least introduce themselves, and then for them to do something important in the story, because I don't want them to be cheerleaders like in Sonic Generations. I want every character that appears in the story to actually be in the story and not in the background. And there are some characters which I just couldn't cut, and some which I could, along with their respective subplot lines. So, who's going to stay and who's going to be snapped away from the existence? Sonic obviously is going to survive, because it's Sonic, the main character, and I want the game to be about him and him being like a fish out of water. The next character that's going to stay is Shadow, because as you may know from the previous demo, this game has something to do with artificial chaoses, who have something to do with Arc, just like Shadow, and it's not going to be as heavy about him like his own game, but it's going to expand his backstory a little bit. Just a little tiny bit, not too much, because I don't want him to steal the whole storyline, but he's going to be important. Zero, who may be or not be infinite, I'm not going to tell, but I can tell that he's the same dude from the prequel comics and episode Shadow. He was a mercenary, so being in the wilderness is not a new thing for him, so he's going to stay. Blaze is also going to stay. I can't tell you why, because it will be gigantic spoiler. Just wait and see. Metal Sonic is also going to stay. He's not as important for the story as the characters mentioned before, but he has quite important role in the village gameplay wise. I have some progress for stages that will introduce him, so I don't want that to go to waste. That's the main reason why he's going to stay, even if he's not really that important to the main story, but he's going to fit thematically. If I decided to cut characters earlier, he will be cut. That leaves us the last character that's going to stay. Custom character. Initially, I didn't have any plans for them in the story, however, Espio's role, who's going to unfortunately be cut, can be taken over. It would also let me make context to character creator. If Espios is not going to be the prisoner on the egg carrier, so will be the custom character. So that's already a change in the story that I had to make. So, Mighty. I had some plans for introduction of him, but his role wasn't really big. Or, in fact, it wasn't big at all. I just wanted to explain what he was doing after Knuckles Chaotix, why he didn't appear at all, but could appear in Sonic Mania. What was the difference between the two timelines? With Classic Sonic, I just wanted to make both Encore mode in Sonic Mania Plus and Sonic Mania Adventures to not contradict each other. That's pretty much it. Really, Classic Sonic was more or less just as important as in Forces, so him being cut, not a big loss. Amy and Silver pretty much shared their storylines, and their purpose was to make the ending a little happier, so it's going to not be as happy as before. So you know which characters are going away, which are going to stay, and I hope you won't be too mad about it. I saw a lot of feedback which expressed the happiness that Silver is playable, and now I'm going to cut him from the story. But you know, I want the game to be complete with as minimal sacrifices as possible. I'm going to leave those characters playable in the game, at least in arcade mode, so they are not completely going away. Maybe I will make a DLC or something that is going to have a storyline starring only those characters that were cut. I have some ideas for that. I really wanted the game to have all my ideas realized, to be mostly current Sonic and current fan games with green hills everywhere, with a lot of focus on storyline, but in order for that to be real, to those ideas to actually be more than ideas, I know I have to do some sacrifices. But I am aware that with all those ideas, with so many characters, and each of them to have their own story, I can't just finish the game in reasonable time. I can do that in unreasonable time, maybe 20 years or so. There's also an option of just rushing the game and making it not as fun as I want it to be. And I see that if I won't sacrifice anything, then there's no way I will be able to do it. And I know that it's not like someone will do that for me, because I'm working alone and not with a team. I'm really interested in your opinion. What do you think about that? If you think that the project has now more chances to be good and actually exist and come out and not die like most of the fun games, or maybe you are disappointed that, for example, Silver is not going to appear in the storyline, and you won't see what personality I came up for my team. It's Johnny Bravo, basically. However, there is one announcement that is even bigger than the one that I mentioned before. You know, the cutting characters from the story. It's the change of the title. Sonic Liquid Survival sounded just too weird, and I thought it was fitting because I wanted the game to be really weird and memorable, and with the change of the storyline, it just doesn't fit anymore. Some people sent me some screenshots from their private conversations and Discord servers, where people just dismissed the game because of the title. They thought it would be really low effort, just something to trick streamers into playing complete garbage. And it's not that. I want the game to be really good, really weird as I possibly can, but you know, in serious kinda weird, just like Sonic Adventure titles. Because of that, I decided to make the title a little bit more normal. So now I hereby announce that the game, formerly called Sonic Liquid Survival, is now called Sonic Stranded. I really hope this title won't turn so many people off, and maybe one day this title will be really popular. I don't know. Maybe. Besides, I am especially okay with changing the title at this point, because what was mostly in Sonic Liquid Survival demos is going to be scrapped. Those first two stages are going to be completely remade from scratch. Possibly I could merge them together and make one stage before that, about the egg carrier. I don't know. I still have to think about that, but those stages are absolutely going to be remade. For one reason, I made them so early, I didn't know that using Unity terrain is in most cases really horrible and bad idea. And I thought it's the correct way because I saw that on the tutorial when Bumper Engine was released. The terrain was the biggest reason for performance drops. It didn't look good, it was really limiting, and the only reason why I used it was because I didn't know any better. Now I can use Blender, so I'm going to use Blender. I've also learned a little bit more about level design, and I saw what went really wrong with the second demo, that it was basically a downgrade compared to the first one. What I did wrong with the level design, it was really educational experience. I really hope you will enjoy new versions of Crystal Coast and Brightbrook a lot more than the originals. I know what went wrong, how to make it better, so I hope it will be better. And I am aware that in the future I may scrap more levels, so it's also one of the reasons why I decided to downscale the game. I really want to know what you think about this update, or maybe overall how this project is going, and you could use this opportunity to ask some questions. I will answer any question that is not asking for spoilers, including what storylines I scrapped because they are tied to the rest of the storyline and I want to spoil that. See you next time, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year!